Thanks
Hope
for
you
having me,
enjoy.
man. Thanks for talking to me.
Hey, no worries at all. It's great to talk to you. I've been a fan of yours throughout the entire show. So, and you're a
Thank
gamer
you.
because I follow you on Twitter. So I like that as well.
Oh, fantastic. Cool. Amazing.
So, I have to ask, obviously you've been on the show for 3 seasons that have aired and you filmed the fourth season. How have you changed how you've looked at Huey as a character over the course of those seasons?
Oh man, it's a really good question. It's funny. I feel like Huey and I are very similar. I always kind of look at him like he's me, but a little bit in the past. Like the first season, I almost felt like my way into Huey felt like it was me in middle school, or like my friends who I'm still in touch with that I've known since that time, little bits and pieces of them. Um, and then as the seasons have gone, I've kind of felt like, okay, it's me in high school, or it's me in college, or it's me, in my early 20s. And I mean, this season, season three, very much felt like Huey had changes pretty drastically.
Sure.
And that was lovely to play. I tried not to judge him too hard because he makes some mistakes this season. But what I ultimately came to was I was so happy that he messed up as much as he did this season and kind of took a turn towards the darker side without really fully going into it. I'm really happy about it because I think that a hero isn't really a hero until that heroism is tested.
Right.
He's a good guy, but you can just say you're a good guy and you'd be a good guy, but you don't really know if you are or not unless you falter a little bit and you're able to see that and learn from your mistakes and make yourself better. So I was kind of over the moon that I got to show a different side of him, one that he didn't love and one that I loved a lot, actually. Just because, just to make a character like Huey even more multifaceted was just a dream. And I thank Eric and the writers for bringing such a new dimension, not only to him but to every character this season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny. I'm glad that I love that you said that he reminds that sort of, there are aspects of you and Huey because, I don't know if you're aware, there's this whole series of videos on TikTok and on YouTube about how Anthony is Homelander in real life. And they caught like
Yeah.
moments of him. And there's that video of you two in a van, I think, where you're like, hi. And you, I don't remember exactly what you say, but you pan the camera over to
Yeah.
him and he's just so deadpan hates you for
Yeah.
in that moment. It's
Amazing.
hilarious.
Yeah.
It's a great dynamic because it really feels
Yeah,
obviously.
that was like a bit I was doing that just
Yeah.
got like way like I don't know. I was like shooting New York Comic Con and I was like playing up this like, hey guys, I'm just so happy to be here. Just to be met with Anthony just rolled with it and he's just like, I'm gonna be as deadpan as I possibly can be. And that was amazing.
That's fantastic. So over the course of season 3, it must have been exciting to you that Huey was going to be taking V and to obtain
Yes.
superpowers. Um, how was your reaction to finding out what his superpowers would be?
Oh man, it was Kripke tells you, and the way he says it is very funny. He's just like, yeah, so you can teleport, but your clothes don't come with you. And it's like my favorite way to receive any kind of news is from him. I kind of loved it. Like I kind of never really thought of it as, I mean, on the day, it's very weird to be the only naked person in a room full of fully clothed people. Like that's most people's worst nightmares. And I got used to it, as the days went on and I had to do it more and more. Herogasm was weirdly enough the most comfortable I was just because there were so many other naked people.
Right.
But no, I mean, like I'm a big superhero nerd, clearly, and Nightcrawler still is my favorite of the X-Men, and I say this a lot, but I'm like, yeah, I'll get naked for X-Men powers, I'll get naked for Nightcrawler powers. I loved that. It was just such a great take on that power from our show. I think that if you really look at that power and look at the practicalities of it, and our show is always trying to show how superpowers would actually be in real life. It's your biological matter transporting from one part of the room to the other. Your clothes aren't part of that, so they won't come with you. And I just thought it was hilarious. I like that it was a little bit embarrassing for Huey every time. But I also like that it gave him this weird sense of power. You know, he was the V gives him it kind of plays into his dark side and makes him dip into that a little bit more. So it's like embarrassing and empowering at the same time, which I just think is perfect for a character like Huey. So I loved it from the get.
So in the comics, though, he is forcibly injected by Butcher, whereas
Yeah,
here it's
yeah.
voluntary. How do you think that changes the dynamic?
I mean, I think it makes them kind of. I rewatched Train Spotting right before we shot that season, just to kind of. I don't know. It's like it's two junkies kind of enabling each other. That's what it becomes, and I think it gives Butcher a lot to do because you know he's kind of he knows that he has to take this V, but you know he doesn't really want Huey going down with him. You know, so it gives him a lot of moral quandaries to solve in his head. And I think, you know, for Huey, he thinks this is kind of a bonding experience with him and Butcher. You know, he's very much in a low place about midway through the season where him and Starlight don't even look like they're together anymore. He's isolated himself from the rest of the boys. You know, Mother's Milk, they tricked and drugged and kind of threw out of their life. So MM's pissed at them. So Butcher's kind of all he has in the middle of the season. So I think it's like it's a way to be closer to him, and it's a way to feel a little bit better about himself because he's a character who has just felt so not powerful in every single season, and then to finally give him a little taste of that, I think is really addicting and intoxicating.
So you talked about Butcher, played by Carl Urban. Tell me what it's like to work with him over the course of these 3 seasons, because you probably have the most scenes with him, I would say.
Yeah, no, I do. I mean, I love Carl. It's been a real treat, and he's taught me so much. And you know, I still remember our first time meeting each other in like the offices of our production offices in Toronto. And I think he it seemed like he was just fresh, like he was recently on a boat. Carl is often on boats. So he had like a hat on, and he was just like he looked like he had been at sea for a while. But we met each other and we like rehearsed a scene, and we started, you know, bonding, and we went to this bar in Toronto called the Dog's Bollocks, which literally has an English bulldog on it that looks like terror. And we just started to get to know each other from there, and it's just been season after season with Carl and with the whole rest of the cast. Like I just feel like we keep getting closer and closer and closer. And I'm not exaggerating. I know it's such a cliche when people say you know, it's like a family, but it is, you know, we know each other to the nth degree at this point. And it's so cool to keep going back year after year and reconnecting with them. And just when you think that our bond can't get any deeper, it does. So, I mean, Carl's been a wonderful person in orchestrating that bond, not just between the two of us, but with the whole cast. And it's been great. It's been really cool to see us grow and change as people, and also our characters do the same thing. So it's been really awesome.
So within that family, you sort of have two camps of scenes that you or scene partners that you have. You have the boys, the team of the
Mhm.
boys, and then you've got Starlight, Annie. Which of those sequences are more challenging for you as a growing actor to interpret?
Oh man, I don't know if one is more challenging than the other. I think they're just so different. You know, with
Yeah.
the boys, it's I mean, it's besides the scenes with just Carl and I, there's a lot of like group dynamic scenes, and it's kind of nice to, you know, I've never really been part of like a team like this before. So
Mhm.
they're all wonderful scene partners, Karen and Tamer and Laz and Carl. And so that's very much all about like getting exposition out sometimes, but also about like establishing a real group dynamic. And just learning all the little intricacies of like, okay, what's Frenchie and MM? What are they like in a room together? Okay, now you add in Kimiko. What's that dynamic like? All right, what is just Hughie and Kimiko like? I love figuring all that stuff out. And with Starlight, you know, Aaron is maybe one of my favorite scene partners I've ever had, because those scenes are so intimate and so personal. And I feel like we talk about every scene before we do it, but I feel like I can just kind of share a look with her before action, and we kind of know what we're about to do. Aaron's wonderful and has truly become like one of my best friends. And those scenes are really pivotal for me because, you know, it's like one of the main love stories within the show. And I think you need it because the show is so dark. You need a little bit of levity, a little bit of light, a good old fashioned love story. And I think doing those scenes with Aaron, we both know the mission that we're on and telling that story, and it's just a wonderful experience.
So I can't let you go without asking you. You've already mentioned this a little bit, but what was it like filming the Hero Gasm episode? I mean, people have been waiting for that, and then it dropped, and it just, I think it met everybody's expectations.
Well, I mean, look, I read all the comic books before we started season one, and I remember the Hero Gasm issue, and I remember how utterly insane it was. And I was like, are we ever gonna do anything close to this? And we actually did. Here's the thing, like, yes, it was crazy. I think what's so weird is that all of those, you know, background actors, the performers who are, you know, performing simulated sex acts, maybe some of the most professional people I've ever worked with in my entire life. Like, they were all so good at like not making sure no one felt uncomfortable, checking in with each other. Like, it was a really safe environment, weirdly enough. I think that episode is so interesting because yes, there's like insane stuff happening, but it's also a kind of a Trojan horse episode of like, you get a lot of pivotal character growth in that. Like, I just speaking from Hughie's perspective, he gets to like confront A Train, basically break up with Annie, and actually get involved in a fight with Soldier Boy, Homelander, and Butcher. Like, that, there's so much going on just from Hughie's side, but like for everybody's side, it's a very character driven episode, and we get like that first really big clash between Butcher and Homelander, which I don't think anyone was really expecting in the orgy episode, but we got it in there. So I love that episode. It might be my favorite episode of the show. Period. I think it might be. It's just filming it was amazing. Watching it was amazing. I'm really, really proud of it. I think we all are.
Yeah, it's a great episode. Well, I think those are all the questions I have for you, Jack. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
and best of
Thank
luck
you,
to you. I
Clarence.
can't wait for season 4.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Have
Bye.
a good rest of your day. Thanks.
You too.